Hi, and welcome to True Crime, a channel dedicated to the dark underworld of criminal activity carried out by gangsters, mobsters, cartel leaders, and others. Let's get started. This is the tale of Shoko Tendo, a Yakuza family member who overcame one of the cruelest experiences that any person should ever have to endure. Shoko still bears the physical and mental scars from her early years and the years she spent experiencing heartbreak, all the while her father not only permitted it to happen but actively encouraged it. The Yakuza is a deadly criminal organization that dates back hundreds of years but evolved into the Yakuza we are more familiar with today after World War II. By 1963, the Yakuza had over 180,000 members, making it one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world and having started to tighten their hold on Japan. They were not opposed to bribing politicians, and soon corruption would become part of the Yakuza's business model. These include blackmail, extortion, and, of course, the sale of illegal drugs. As Japan moves away from simply accepting the Yakuza as a part of their society, their numbers have been declining. However, one aspect of the Yakuza that isn't discussed as much and explored even less is the woman of the Yakuza. It turns out that this might be for a very good reason, as this case reveals in all its shocking details. Many people were stunned by the tragic and heartbreaking story of Shoko Tendo. Shoko was one of 3 siblings to parents Hiroyasu and Satomi and was born into the Yakuza. They lived in a beautiful house in Sakai, Osaka, and led comfortable lives with their Yakuza father running several legitimate businesses in addition to his more sinister profession as a Yakuza came. This victim decided to tell all in a no-hold-bar book that revealed the sickening treatment the Yakuza have committed, and this treatment isn't just inflicted on there. When Shoko first encountered this prejudice, she wasn't even 10 years old. After the passing of her grandmother, she witnessed her father and one of her uncles arguing over the will. She claims the uncle told her father, "You Yakuza scum, you're not getting a penny of the Tendo family's money," and she recalled how she was teased by her classmates during this time because her father was in prison and because Japanese law forbade children from betting. One of these encounters would be a foreboding sign of violence to come when a group of boys tried to assault her during a meeting with another girl. With the aid of a friend, she was able to fight them off and escape harm. Her association with the Yakuza and the risks that come with it had already had a negative impact on her life, and soon she would discover that the extent of the bullying she was experiencing as the daughter of a gangster. Sent to refractory school for 8 months, life didn't get any better for Shoko when she got home. Her father's debt started to grow, and life turned into a nightmare for her. In order to pay off his debts, her father did the unforgivable. He allowed those he owed money to abuse his own daughter. This spiraled her mental and physical health downward, and some of the men who admitted she would violently be violent with her. A new man I met the last time Shoko used drugs. It was after receiving another beating in another seedy hotel. However, this time, she had a realization and recalled, "I kept thinking, I don't want to die in a place like this." After an hour, I finally managed to drudge myself home. I was aware that I needed to quit. However, she would face the most difficult times of her life yet when she was to experience the first beating. She moved to Tokyo after she found herself without any money and with nowhere else to go. She started working in a pachinko parlor and tried to make a better life for herself, but when her mother passed away, she would become consumed by grief and unable to continue life. One night she swallowed handfuls of pills. Her husband cut off one of his fingers, a traditional method of atonement for Yakuza gangsters. A genuine opportunity to change her life for the better after getting divorced, she seized it and went back to work in the red light district. Within a year, she had opened a savings account. Working hard and remaining dedicated to her work, she was able to save enough money to give up her job as a hostess forever. Her life had been on an emotional roller coaster up until this point, so she decided it was time to put pen to paper and share the world about the life of years of abuse. Took a toll on her health and mental state, and her scars paint a horrifying picture of the violence Yakuza men could inflict on their prey. By the time she left their world, she had broken bones, teeth, eardrums, lost hair, and suffered from the after effects of her drug use. These injuries were so severe that she eventually required plastic surgery, but despite the agony she endured, people would frequently ask about her. But I could still see the blue staining his hand. Furious, my father shattered the man's head open in the hallway, asking the offender, "Why did you cut your finger off?" Although she did not get along with her father well, he was able to motivate her in a letter he wrote to her. Just before he passed away, "Shoko, please continue to believe in yourself and believe in herself." She did this, and her book went on to sell millions of copies and be translated into many languages. This compelling look into the Yakuza world was even endorsed by some Yakuza members themselves. Instead of trying to hide the tattoos that cover her body, Shoko believes that her representation of a gangster was as true as it could have been. She also believes that writing about her past has helped her find some sort of mental healing, embraces them, and views them as a powerful aspect of her life. In contrast to the Yakuza, who live more covert lifestyles and whose tattoos have influenced Japan's core culture, prominent Japanese artists and musicians live more open lives. I observe that foreign members encounter the form of prejudice that comes with having tattoos, and some even resort to more drastic measures to lead regular lives. Once more, but for Shoko, her tattoos would remain a permanent part of her life, and she even had more to cover the scars of her youth, covering her body in dragons, flowers, phoenixes, and cortisone. Although, like most former members, she feels the need to cover them up in Japanese society, she still feels empowered by her tattoos and continues to get more even after she left the group. Having seen tattoos since she was young, she grew accustomed to them. Yakuza tattoos are now less common as their numbers decline. It was in 1992 that the Japanese authorities finally stood up to the deadly organization and gave their own people an ultimatum. This was the beginning of the end for the Yakuzas. I suppose I had the impression that this was my world and that I belonged there. The Japanese government implemented the anti-ball Yakuza law in 1992. The shadow government had infiltrated the stock market, real estate, airport management, and even nuclear power stations when the once stolen police decided to take action against it. These stringent anti-gang measures will facilitate. By doing this, the police switched from directly punishing the gangs to relying on the social stigma to do the job for them. The effect was to deter businesses from doing business with the Yakuza, and it also discouraged gang bosses from being arrested for the actions of their underlings. In fact, if businesses were caught dealing with them, they would face a variety of punishments. She is planning to write a sequel to her debut book and is a single mother of a young child. She describes her new partner as being very different from the men she grew up with, describing him as almost comically. He freaks out when he sees my tattoos and tells me to cover them when we're out, but she still leads a happy and healthy life as an author and contributes to educating Japan and the rest of the world about the life of a Yakuza. Thank you for watching another amazing video from our true crime team. Like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned to our next real-life true crime video.